right back at it on the 5.3 for Austin's turbo build. He's scraping to clean all your surfaces. So on these dipstick tubes, there's two different seals. Where's the part number for this? O'Reilly's didn't even have this listed as for LS cars. There's the part number right there. I had to manually search the part number at each parts store to find it because, and even when I found it, it says does not fit this vehicle, and it does. This is the one you want. So now there's a few different types. So, and you can read this. If it comes with this color one, use this one. If it comes with this color one, but that could be wrong because his had a red in it. And this says to use a green if it's the red, but I don't know. I think someone might have, if someone's changed those before, that's not going to work. So basically, I just took, if you measure this and one part's bigger than this part, you use the green. Like this, the outer part's bigger than this part, you use the green. If it's the same size all the way up, you use the black. And the LS1 should use the black. And I'll be honest with you, I was supposed to use the black on mine. I used the green, but it holds good oil pressure because I didn't even know about this when I built my motor. Like I said, I'm just learning the LS stuff. But man, you're gonna have to clean that up. That'll fall down in the motor.
Yeah, I know. I plan on getting a pair of chain locks, pulling it all off.
But when you use his windage tray got destroyed, so when you use the truck windage tray, you have to cut it about right there. And the reason why is because there's not enough room between the rods and the oil pan for the windage tray on the LS1 cars where it's so shallow up front. On the truck one, it's really deep and there's room. But if you try to put the oil pan on with that coming all the way up to the front like it does on a don't get all that down in the motor. I can't believe you put that on there without cleaning it off. There's still a piece right there.
Oh no, give me time, give me time.
What's the matter with you, huh? But yeah. And now, once we got that on, you can actually put on the oil pan or the timing cover. I don't know if it's the correct way to do it, but I put the timing cover on and I tighten it down in a manner that the timing cover is going to be flat with the oil pan rail right here. So that's what we're going to do next, but we're going to change the seal in it. And I just knock those out with a screwdriver and a hammer or whatnot. And then I use a flat board to beat them back down in there with a hammer. But we're going to do that next. Oh, and on these instructions, this part where my thumb is that you measure, that's the actual part that goes down in the oil pump. So if the very tip of this is bigger than the part up by where it bolts down, which I mean, you'll have that lip. You're not measuring the lip. See, here's the flange, and then there's the lip right in front of it. You're measuring right in front of that lip. But now if it's got a big lip here, and then a groove, and then a big lip there, then you use the green. If it's straight like this, but it's bigger on the outside than it is on the inside, you use the green. See, 0.87 of an inch, 0.84 of an inch. But if it's the same size all the way up to that little ledge, 87 all the way up, then you use the black. And his was 87 all the way up. So actually it was 87 at the end and 88 at the top, but yeah. But it's that piece that sticks down in there. That's what you're looking at right here. That clarifies it. So Austin was cleaning out his oil pan and we found a crack in the oil pan. So luckily we had another LS1 oil pan laying around here somewhere, and using some step bits to drill a hole in it. What do you do with it?
This one.
The LS1 oil pan.
Over here.
Oh, it's over there. So we used some step drill bits, and believe it or not, Ace had an AN fitting that and a nut. So we're gonna put put it through here, put a seal, and then a nut on the back side. Should work better than what he had before. What he had before was just a hole drilled and a bunch of JB weld.
It was threaded through the hole. Self-thread. Like we threaded it through a tighter hole.
Yeah.
But this is definitely better.
Making progress. We got the lifters and lifter trays in. Got the timing cover on, old pans on, and got the pulley on. And I'll be honest with you guys. They make an attachment that you can put on your starter and hold the flex plate, and you might be able to get that torque down. But I'll be honest with you, I just put a impact on it and send it and hammer on it for a little while, because I mean it's almost impossible to get those to the torque specs that they ask for. It's crazy, and sometimes even getting that out is almost impossible. That balancer bolt, I don't know, seems to be working on mine that same way I did on mine. So, but really you're supposed to torque that so many pounds and then do like 260 degrees or something crazy. I mean, you have to have breaker bars stacked on breaker bar with a 500-pound man pulling down on it or something to that effect to get it where they want it. Let me look it up. So you're supposed to use the old bolt and do 240 foot-pounds. We don't even have a torque wrench that goes that high. What's the highest that one torque wrench goes?
Yours? I got one right here. Let's see.
That's the one that don't go that high though, ain't it?
150.
150. I don't even know where you'd find a torque wrench to go that high. I'm sure they make them, but you're supposed to go with the old bolt 240 pounds. Then you put the new bolt in, you go 37 pounds, then you go 140 degrees. I'm telling you, that's not easy. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. We put the bolt in and we send it with some Ugga-Duggas on an impact. I'm not gonna lie.
16 to be exact.
16 Ugga-Duggas. All right, now we'll go ahead and put the heads on. We put the lifters in and the lifter trays. Those get torqued down to, we went 9 foot-pounds. And on these studs, make sure your dowel pins are in the block and sticking out a little bit to engage the head. And what I do on these is I tighten them all the way down and then I back them off just a smidgen.
That's what you said last time.
And then we didn't do studs before.
No, joking.
Oh. So yeah, I just back them off. Tighten them down so they're all the way seated and just back it off of here. And we're gonna put all these in. Should put the gasket on first. Should put the gasket on first. Well, no, because we're gonna have to clean the excess that came out, but putting the gasket on, you have to clean all this up too, that's too wet. Putting the gasket on over these studs is a little tricky, to say the least. It likes to get hung up on the threads, and then this side will go all the way down and the gasket's categorized here. And then don't want to go down, so you gotta kind of fight it a little bit. But yeah, it's probably better to put the studs in, because make sure you use a lubricant. It'll squeeze some out and you need to wipe that off. But these don't go into water jackets. I had said before on my last 2 videos, like I said guys, I'm just learning LS. I'm a small block Chevy Gen 1, Gen 2 guy. And someone corrected me on one of my videos. I'm glad you did that. I appreciate it. And you guys correct me. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to take everything, you know, I'm going to soak it in and learn from it. You know, I'm not going to be like, you know, well, don't correct me. Correct me. I want to hear it. I want to learn. I learn from it. I like it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and put the head studs on. Unfortunately, to put this back piece on and change the dog bone, we're going to have to take the motor off the engine stand, and we kind of want to wait till last to do that. So we're going to try to put on as much as we can before we get there. That's where we're at. So these head gaskets are usually marked front and the letter up, but I've heard people say that these have been marked wrong before. See those 2 water jackets? Those always go to the back. The front don't have them. Water jackets all the way to the back. And this one, we can go ahead and drop the head on it. And there's a certain way the washers and stuff go on. I'll have to look at these washers. So, when you put these washers in, make sure you clean where the washer goes. Because you don't want the washer to turn. You want the nut to turn, but you want the washer to act as part of the head. So clean all these surfaces under here.
Luckily these got little grips.
And these have grips on them. So the grip side goes down towards the head. The flat side goes towards the nut on these particular washers. Grip side down, flat side up towards, or I said grip side down, flat side up towards the nut. Ooh. Yep, grip side down, flat side up towards the nut. And then we're going to lube the bottom of the nut also, so it slides better on this. And we lube the threads. When we put those in, we lube the top and bottom of the threads. And the threads are different up here than they are what goes in the block, so you can't put those in backwards, but most of them have some type of Allen or something on the top to help you put them in. And again, we just screwed them all the way in and then backed them off about an eighth of a turn, eighth quarter turn, something like that. But yeah, we'll lube the bottom of the nut, put it on, we'll start torquing them down in waves of 3. I don't know what the torque is on these. We'll have to look at the directions. So these 5.3s, they didn't need to come down just a little in the back. Need to come down a little in the back. These 5.3s, they don't have this hole drilled like the LS1 does. So usually when I had to do it on mine too. So we're going to tap and drill a hole here. And that doesn't go anything. It's just a solid chunk of metal sticking out the side there. But well, actually it will bust through to this hole, but we're not using that for anything.
They did.
Come up in the back a little. Okay. Go down a little bit in the back. Okay. We're going to drill and tap that. Luckily I already had a drill and tap for that. There we got the water pump on, the alternator on. We're waiting on, I broke his knock sensor plug, taking the knock sensor plugs out. And that won't be here till Monday. We was going to put the intake on it, but we didn't put the push rods and the rocker on. Come down on the back. Down. Okay. We're making progress. All right, got our hole drilled, got our belt on, and now we're torquing the rockers 22 pounds. And what I usually do is I turn it up, over, exhaust comes up, down, intake, up, down, and I turn it over about another eighth of a turn. And we do these, same way, do those, do these, and then do those. That's the way I do it.
A lot of people just torque them down and go with it.
Yeah. I've seen people torque them down and just go with it and it worked, but I just do it this way because that takes the load off of it and gives it a good torque number. That's how I do it. All right, we got her back down on the K-member. Yes, sir. What is that company called? LS Acceleration. Did not send us a rear cover gasket. Or pickup seals.
We got those fits.
So I'll be messaging them, because that's going to wind up costing us about $55. We don't want to wait.
And time.
Yeah, and time. So
time is money.
We're just putting it, we're doing what we can. I think it's about all we can do. We're waiting for, I broke the knock sensor, so we're waiting on a knock sensor wire. And then we ordered a rear cover gasket. And I'm gonna message LSX Acceleration and be like, hey, they got, you build your own kits, but yeah, it didn't have the rear cover gasket, and it should have. But anyway, we about got her licked. About got her licked. The only thing different than I would have wanted, that I wish we would have done, is to pay the extra money for the thousands more of clearance on the bearings,
which we could have,
and run a thicker oil. But we'll see how this pans out. I mean, if it blows up, We got another one right there.
Hands out.
Austin mounted the turbo on it. Woohoo!
She's thick.
It does hit the radiator hose, but
We always did.
that's the cold side, so shouldn't hurt it.
Eventually it will hurt a spot,
But I think everything's going to clear. The only thing we're worried about is the frame right here. Hopefully this is higher than the frame.
which I think it is.
It's going to be close. But if it ain't, we'll just get another T6 flange and stack them.
Pop it up another, what, half
Yep.
inch, 3/4?
And raise it up some. But when we put the motor in the car, we're going to take this off and then put that on afterwards, because we don't know if that's going to hit or not. But yeah, going right together. Y'all like and subscribe, more videos to come.